IVM.
Hi,
You're
listening to IVM
Daily.
Hello and welcome to IVM Daily, and we are extremely delighted to have a very special guest today. Actually, we have just logged him in the studio so that he does not go before talking to us on IVM Daily. I have with me Meghnad S. He's a columnist, a YouTube creator, and his main areas of interest are Parliament, Indian Parliament,
Yes.
policy and current affairs, and he is extremely popular on Twitter as well as in the physical world. Meghnad, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And I'm not entirely sure how you define popular in real world.
You know this influencer thing.
Oh yeah.
So
right, yeah.
actually
I'm an
I'm referring to that.
influencer. Yes. Hi guys, I'm an influencer.
I'm not going to tell you, to explain the connection of your name like I just did before the show started. But I really wanted to discuss with you a very interesting topic, and you've written on that.
Yeah.
How to connect millennials to democracy.
Right.
But before going on to that, I just mentioned about your Twitter handle, and you had tweeted in 2017, and the date was March 2017, March 28, 2017, where you posted a picture of Indian Parliament and said that, let me introduce you to the love of my life.
Yeah.
So why did you fall in love with Parliament?
Oh, it's a very convoluted story. I keep making it up in my head mostly, but genuinely, I love the institution of Parliament, right? Because we are living in the world's most chaotic and biggest democracy, right? And I think people
But
don't
vibrant as well.
vibrant, diverse, chaotic, but I would rather say chaotic.
Chaotic, okay.
Because the thing is that, people I think don't get the full export of what that means, right? Unity in diversity, right? Everybody knows that's a slogan, right? But what it essentially means is that when you go into the parliament, first thing you see is you go into the main entrance and it splits into two. The carpet splits into red and green, which is basically Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. But when you pass that point and you go to basically the building itself and you keep walking around, you find so many people speaking so many languages with wearing so many costumes, and they are costumes, and talking about gossip and laws and like whatever is going on in the current news, and just this whole vibrant atmosphere of this insanity that our democracy is. It's all concentrated in that place.
Space, yeah.
So it's very overwhelming. When you go in first, but how people say it's the temple of democracy.
Yeah.
So I always like to give this analogy, right? So if you are, say, a devotee of Vaishnav Devi, right? Are you a devotee of Vaishnav Devi?
No.
Are you a devotee of any god?
No.
Okay, so you will like this. Basically, if you go to any temple that you are a devotee of, you can recognize who has gone there because of faith. And who has gone there with people who have faith.
Okay, yeah. Actually, the body language and everything, it speaks volumes. Yeah.
Like a person goes to the murti and like, oh my god, murti, ye chadha ke, wo chadha ke, puja,
And I know,
whatever.
whenever I've gone to a temple with my mother, I do not even, you have this particular way of praying to God, and you do your hands like that in this prayer ka mudra.
Absolutely.
So, not everyone can actually do that if you're not, devoted to that particular God. You believe in, you do this, you don't do this. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
It's like, when you're a person who goes with someone who has faith, the second kind, you go in and you're like, this cave is nice. This temple is nice. Oh, these murtis are nice. This interesting, adorned, like whatever. So Parliament is something like that.
Okay.
When they say temple of democracy, you see two kinds of people there. One who are like so taken by the whole atmosphere and oh my god, I am here, and you're like, oh my god, I can't even. I was one of those. And then there is the other kind who are very matter of fact about it. हाँ ठीक है, आ गए, काम करने आ गए, like doing this and doing that and whatever. So What I meant by that tweet is that it makes me poetic. Like whenever I go in.
You would be that one rare person I've met all through these years who says that actually, that I've fallen in love with Parliament, the building.
Yeah, the building, the atmosphere, just the environment. I can't get over it. It's like an addiction and I can't get over it.
Yeah, but going back to the issue that, I proposed right in the beginning, that this requirement of engaging young people like you to this concept of democracy, the idea of, having a democratic institution in your country and various kind of democratic institutions arises mainly because, you recognize a kind of disconnect. And that's why you say that there is a need to connect or the need to familiarize people.
Yeah.
So where do you see this disconnect? How do you describe that?
I think people have a lot of wrong notions about a lot of things, which is our democracy in general, but more, say, the people who are running our democracy, right? For instance, we have this habit of putting people on a pedestal, right? If you look at it in a way that you have elected someone and they have become your my baap, then that's from my perspective, that's a problem, because then whatever they say goes, they cannot be challenged, which is not a democracy anymore. But what I want people to see is that it's essentially like you're giving someone a job, right? Just that the people who are hiring that person are you, like a mass of people. When they are giving speeches, they are giving interviews. When they are putting up their, they're writing articles, etc., they're basically putting out their resumes so that you vote for them, right? Vote for them as in you give them a job. And they have to do that job for 5 years. But as a regular boss, you just won't let your employee do whatever the hell they want, right?
Yeah, you feel helpless for next 5 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the feeling.
And that feeling needs to go away. And that feeling will only go away if we change our perspective about how we look at these people we have elected. Right now, of course, there are people who are not, say, scared of challenging authority. But it's not about being scared. It's just realizing that's your right. You don't have to be scared, because the feeling of scared or I'm afraid of that authority only comes in when you feel like you're doing something wrong or when you're doing something against a very powerful entity, right? But if you know it's your right, if you know that the authority needs to be challenged because you have hired them, now that is the perspective change that needs to come, and that with that perspective change, everything else will follow.
But do you think that this disconnect somewhere is because we have not been able to tell them that this matters to you? Why? Why does it matter to you? When the fact is that we are introduced to democracy and democratic institutions, right, at a very young age when we are studying civics, for example, that you've mentioned this again and again, that we are introduced to civics at an early age, but still we do not understand or make sense of it. So where do we lack in terms of creating an understanding? Where is this disconnect starting off?
Right. So the usual answer to a question like this is apathy. Citizen apathy. I do not give that answer because I do not believe that. Because I've seen live examples of it now and it's insane. Like, I'll just give you one. So I started this YouTube channel, right? A very bizarre concept, basically. Have you seen Twitch gaming streams?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically they're playing a game and someone is commentating and people watch it for hours.
Yeah,
I do too. Yeah. I was like, why not do that with Parliament? Right? So what I did was I streamed Lok Sabha TV, Rajya Sabha TV with my face under it.
Okay.
And I streamed it and I was giving crazy commentary on whatever was happening and explaining things and whatever. It was a YouTube live sort of stream. Every session I'm doing that now. When the no confidence motion happened, I had people with me which were ranging around 500 to 600 on an average watching live for 8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, and continuously, because I was streaming continuously, and I have seen like people engaging directly with what is Parliament, and they're not afraid to ask questions. They're asking stupid questions, which is fine, which I actually encourage people to ask, because everybody's stupid. It's a very complicated institution. Our democracy is complicated. Just that they need someone to sort of guide them through it and talk in the language that they understand, right? And I think the apathy part, I don't think exists now, because it is changing. People are getting more aware. They know that to challenge authority, they need to take some steps. They need to know certain things, and they are taking efforts to know those. Plus, because of social media, they have direct contact with these people, so they can just go and tweet to them. Right? They don't know if someone is reading it or not, but still they'll do it. and which shows that they are actually caring about it. Just that the effort has been reduced, which is a great thing for a citizen to participate, which is also a good thing. And then the other thing which comes with participation is civic education, right? And I tell this to everyone I meet, please go read the 8th grade civics book first. And it has some amazing things in it. And it will just explain it to you. It's a quick read. And you will know a lot of things which you were taught in school but forgotten. And you will know a lot of more ways on how to engage with democracy.
Yeah. But what do you have to say about this narrative of Sare Neta Chor and this democracy? Because you say it's chaotic. But this is a very dominant narrative at this point in time, and which I think is a big deterrent for people also to participate.
You know, I think it's a very strange sort of narrative. Like, for instance, I had written an article in BuzzFeed called I voted for you, give me a unicorn.
Yes,
right? Where I had mentioned this example of Nayak. Right? This movie Nayak, you have seen Nayak? Multiple times because they keep showing it. Mud-covered Anil Kapoor, hot.
All right.
But, no, guys, it's not out. But the thing is that in that they have like the stereotypical Bollywood thing they do, right? Politician is the villain, and there is a righteous journalist who becomes the chief minister and gets all the things. Power. Fixes all things, right? It's not real life, guys. So I have worked with MPs, and I have realized more than anything else, they're a reflection of us. Ultimately. So think of it this way. Imagine a loudspeaker.
Okay.
Right. If there is a loudspeaker in public which is blaring things, there has to be a person who is holding the mic and speaking into it. Our MPs are loudspeakers, right? Who are placed in parliament, and we are holding the mic, essentially. But how that happens is that, you know, not everybody gets a chance to speak in the mic. We crowdsource things. The feelings are picked up by those representatives, and that becomes the part of the discourse in parliament, right? So they are basically a reflection of their constituents who voted for them, or they're supposed to be. Right? I'm not saying I'm a blanket statement, but they're supposed to be a reflection of us. So if you're calling sab neta chore hai, what does that say about you? But that's a very easy way to get out of it. I know, and I can see it on your face also. But but no, I'm not trying to get away. But my thing is that imagine, as I said in the beginning itself, like if you are putting them on a pedestal and see them as rock stars or something, you will have a very different image of them in your mind. They have power, yes, but they are very much driven by the same instincts that everyone else is: survival. You know, they want to survive in their job. For that, they need money,
right,
to get re-elected, because सब कुछ करना है. Then they need influence, so they will do everything they can, including giving ridiculous statements to the media, right? Which gets them attention. So which is, no publicity is bad publicity. So everything they do, they're doing for survival for the next 5 years, right? And we have to understand that, and we have to look through it. Right, we have to look through it not because it's a bad thing to do these things, because at the end of the day they are all doing a performance. They're actors and they're acting for your sake, but also because we have to realize they're acting, so that we can actually get to the real meat of the things, and get to the real questions that we can ask.
So Meghnad, you're making it sound really cool that they are also human beings. They're like us, and they're a reflection of us. But don't you think so that we really need a very concrete sort of strategy for this civic education that you're talking about? Right. How do we do that, and where and how to start?
So I think, we can start little, right? For instance, as I said, the best way is to read the 8th grade. I mean, each and everyone can do that, and it's easy. It's available online, whatever. But I think the other thing that we also need to do, which is what they're now calling edutainment. Right, where in like there is a very interesting show, मैं कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ, right, which is on DD. It is the most watched show in India currently, right? And it is a show about sensitizing people about gender. right? About women and problems and I met the creator of that show, and it's very interesting how there is a narrative there, but at the same time they are inserting messages which are going to rural areas, which are just spreading gender sensitization and just educating people in general through a narrative. I think people have not put in much effort into that process yet, where you have to make education entertaining for people to pay attention to it.
Okay.
And if you want to take something as boring as civics, which it is still boring, and you need people to change it into a narrative which people can actually be entertained by. So while they are getting entertained, they're also learning a lot of new things. They know how to deal with problems related to the government, and a lot of things are sort of fixed that way, in their heads. So that is essentially my answer to that.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Meghnad.
Yeah. Thank you, and thank you for calling me.
So that was Meghnad S, and I hope you've learned something from him. With that, I'll take your leave, but we'll be back with another episode of IVM Daily very soon. Till then, stay tuned. We are on various social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, ivmpodcasts.com. Bye-bye.
Give me a word या कोई भी लाइन, कुछ भी हो सकता है यार. क्या कहा आपने? टोपी. Okay. Mohan Joshi hated wearing topis. He felt suffocated in them. टोपी पहनते ही उसे स्कूल की याद आती थी. Where of course he had no choice but to wear a टोपी. But जिस दिन पास आउट हुआ, उसी दिन उसने अपनी टोपी का bonfire बना दिया. And since then, he'd never worn a cap or a hat. ना कड़कती धूप में, and not even to बचो from the ठंडी. But from Monday 26th February, Mohan Joshi had to wear a topi all the time. Why? Because if he didn't, everyone around him knew exactly what क्या सोच रहा था. They knew that he was wondering how the girl in the yellow churidar would look बिना कपड़े के. They knew when he was calling the boss a सड़ेला टमाटर. They knew everything. पर ये सब हुआ कैसे? अरे भाई, यही तो स्टोरी है. और ये स्टोरी आप ही ने मुझे दिया by giving me the starting word. यही तो है The Croc's Tales. Words आपके, कहानी आपके लिए. Catch the stories on Monday and Thursday on the IVM website, app, and anywhere you get your podcast from. See you soon.
Shunyavan, 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 Shunyavan.
Hey, this is Shizaditya Mukhopadhyay.
And I'm Amit Doshi.
And we host Shunya One, the weekly podcast based on conversations about startups, entrepreneurship, across verticals like food tech or fintech, and digital payments, logistics, e-commerce, and of course, all the stuff from VCs and investors as well.
Over the course of our run, we've had some really great entrepreneurs. We've had Zishan Hayat from Topper, Naya Sagi from Baby Chakra, Ankush Sachdev from ShareChat, and Akrit from Haptic, among many, many more.
Yep, and we continue to get some of the biggest, smartest, and most innovative folks in the country in this space coming here, talking to us, all for you guys to listen to.
So tune in every Tuesday on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts from, and get a chance to be a part of all of the tech banter and entrepreneurship conversations on our Slack channel. Talk to our guests, they show up as well. All you have to do is request an invite on ivmpodcast.com/Shunya1.